Welcome to Kiss and Tell Stories. Enjoy the story and have a great time listening. The Lee family. The wealthiest household and one with only one male heir per generation for 8 generations. Had just issued a high-paying recruitment notice. Become their daughter-in-law. Give birth to a child, $300,000 for a boy. $200,000 for a girl. All you have to do is give birth. The Lee family will take care of everything else. I was overjoyed finally, a golden opportunity to get rich. The first time I gave birth to 3 boys at once. Madam Lee threw parties all over the city and laughed so hard her eyes disappeared. The second time I delivered 4 babies, 2 boys and 2 girls. Madam Lee smiled gently and showed me nothing but kindness and care. The third time, I had 3 more boys. This time, Madam Lee couldn't even crack a smile. From then on, she would sigh to anyone she met. Why haven't I died yet? My family has always passed down a special fertility constitution. My grandmother gave birth to 8 boys and 2 girls. And in those days, she went from being a landlord to a household in poverty just from feeding them all. My mother gave birth to boy-girl twins and still wanted more. But the family's financial situation forced her to stop after just 1 round. Having learned from 2 generations of experience, my mom gave me clear instructions. Choose carefully. He must be both handsome and rich. Because in our family, fertility is no joke. Twins? That's already considered rare. Triplets? That's normal. And occasionally, there'd be bursts of 4 or even 5 kids, nothing out of the ordinary. Pick someone good-looking. So your kids will be beautiful too, it's pleasing to the eye. Pick someone rich, so your kids will have a strong foundation in life. After all, we'd already learned our lesson from Grandma. Never again let children drag a family into poverty. I took my mum's words to heart. That's why I stayed single all these years until just a few days ago, when the wealthiest Lee family in the country issued their recruitment notice again. $300,000 for a boy. $200,000 for a girl. Just give birth, and they'll handle the rest. Immediately, people from all over rushed to apply. My brain short-circuited, and I impulsively signed up too. I made it through every round like a warrior through battle. And in the end, I won the top spot. Holding that offer letter in my hand, I excitedly called my mum. "Mum, I'm about to strike it rich." After hearing the whole story, my mum took a deep breath and said, "Good girl, but try to hold back a little. Don't drive them into bankruptcy." On my first day of work, Madam Lee greeted me with a cold face and a stern tone. The Lee family has had only one male heir for 8 generations. Producing an heir is extremely difficult for us. So don't blame me if I seem a little biased toward boys. Once the first child is born, we'll register the marriage immediately, and the bonus will be paid at once. If you can't give birth, you'll receive a nutrition compensation fee and be sent back to where you came from. I patted my chest confidently. Please don't worry, Party AI guarantees mission success. Madam Lee, satisfied, waved her hand, and they immediately brought in the father of the future children. Alexander Lee, with sharp eyebrows, a refined face, impossibly long legs, and an unintentionally exposed 8-pack. Honestly, anywhere else, he'd be the most handsome man in the room. Unfortunately, at this moment, he looked tragically miserable. He was tightly bound with red silk rope, carried in by 8 bodyguards, violently struggling and yelling in protest. "Let me go. What, are you trying to turn me into a breeding pig? Get lost. I don't touch women, let me down. Marriage is freedom. Love is freedom." His hoarse screams were heart-wrenching. That's when I suddenly understood. The reason Madam Lee was offering such a high-paying daughter-in-law position was because their only heir in 8 generations is gay. God, this was painful to witness. Madam Lee looked sorrowful. "Alexander, I understand your wishes. I'm not an old-fashioned person. As long as you give me 1 child after that, you can go wherever you want. Like men? Fine. Want to transition? I'll accept that too. I just have this one wish, please grant it for your mother." The more he heard, the more violently Alexander Lee struggled. "Mum, can you not misunderstand me? Who said I like men? Madam Lee's sadness only deepened. Oh, I get it now, you like transgender people. That's quite the taste. But transgender people can't bear children. I only have this one dream just this once. Please make it come true. Alexander screamed in frustration. Mum! Stop misunderstanding me. But Madam Lee, wiping the corner of her eye, no longer had the patience to argue. She simply pointed to me and said to him, I searched far and wide to find this girl. She's the perfect mother for your child. Your future wife. I know your preferences are special, but this is a good girl. I can't let her suffer. Alexander Lee scoffed coldly. It's useless, mother. No matter who it is, she'll never be the one I want. Even if you bind my body, my soul will still fight for its chastity. Madam Lee ignored him and pulled me over for a proper introduction. This is my rebellious son, Lee QD. Do you think he'll still be functional tonight despite being tied up like that? I glanced at him up and down, this handsome man, disheveled yet exuding a repressed allure. The red silk ropes were tight, but they didn't interfere with anything important. I looked up confidently and assured her, no problem at all. Party A, no matter how difficult the mission. Party B will fight with full force. Madam Lee was very pleased, turning to scold Alexander. Look at her, then look at yourself. For some reason, despite his earlier violent resistance, Alexander suddenly went quiet. From time to time, his gaze would flicker toward me, and the tips of his ears flushed red. That night, for safety reasons, Alexander Lee was tied tightly to the bed. As fierce as his resistance had been during the day, he was equally quiet at night. I figured he had finally accepted reality. Excited, I rubbed my hands together. Just imagine a tall, cold, handsome guy with an ascetic vibe, tied to a bed. And I get to do whatever I want to him, and then get paid for it. Just the thought sent a thrill through me. All right, I don't have any experience, so if I hurt you, please let me know, okay? I smiled quickly. Alexander's face turned bright red, his eyes flickering, clearly searching for a new topic. Mia, do you have someone you like? My hand froze in place. I remembered the golden rule of corporate life. Always take Party A's questions seriously. I sifted through my memory and firmly shook my head. No, I don't. Alexander let out a long sigh. I do. Huh? Right at that moment, when I was down to nothing but underwear, I suddenly couldn't keep going. The person I like already has someone in their heart. What I'm doing now, is it even right? Alexander Lee glanced at me, his face turning even redder. Why did you stop? I climbed on top of him, a bit hesitant. I mean, you already have someone you like. If you don't want to do this, then forget it. After all, it's just a few $1,000s. Sob. But hey, a person's gotta have a conscience. Alexander looked like he was about to combust. He cleared his throat awkwardly. It's fine. Go ahead. I boldly tore open his shirt, still trying to be polite. Your partner won't mind, right? If it's you, it's fine. Oh, wow. Your lover is really understanding, huh? I reached out to take off his pants. Now we were facing each other head on, no barriers. But I just kept fumbling, unsure what to do next. Alexander was panting, then spoke softly. Untie me. I'll do it. No way. Even with the worst case odds. We were guaranteed twins, meaning $400,000. If I untied him and he ran, my $400,000 would vanish in a puff of smoke. I kept trying, finally found the right spot. Used force and pain ripped through me. I screamed out loud like my soul was being torn apart. Alexander took a deep breath. Listen to me. Untie me. You'll hurt yourself this way. I gave in. It really hurt too much. Turns out making money isn't easy. And earning it this way? Even harder. That $400,000 wasn't going to come easy. As soon as the ropes were off, Alexander flipped me under him, turned off the lights, and we officially got started. On my first day on the job, the final moments before I blacked out, I had one blurry thought. Alexander Lee is definitely a top. His stamina is insane. Truly, only weak men top women. Real men top men. The next morning, when I woke up, the bed beside me was empty. My phone showed a new contact had been added, and a message received. Company emergency, had to go. Call me if there's anything. Alexander. I let out a sigh. It's rare to find a party A this considerate these days. Before I could reply, my best friend's call came through. Her voice exploding the second I picked up. Mia, where the hell are you? Do you know we've got a meeting with the client today? If we miss this meeting, I'll chop off your head and use it as a flower pot. I rubbed my ear and glanced at the clock. It was already 10 a.m. I jumped up in panic. Crap, overtime was so exhausting I almost forgot my real job. After graduation, my best friend and I started our own advertising company. The Hun High project was our biggest contract yet worth $500,000. She had warned me seriously. Mine, if we pull this off, we're going abroad to party. Got it? This deal was her entire lifeline. I dashed to the office like a madwoman, but I was still 3 minutes late. The receptionist stopped me cold. Sorry, the appointment time has passed. Please reschedule. My best friend was gritting her teeth. You'd better explain where the hell you were last night. I stammered. I took on a side gig. She sneered. What kind of side gig is more important than a $500,000 deal? It's not that important. Just something to guarantee $400,000. The elevator doors opened, and a group of people poured out like a tide. Leading them was a handsome man with a cold face, his aura dominating the entire room. My best friend quickly pulled me behind her, flashing a bright smile as she rushed forward. Director Lee, I'm Amelia from the advertising company. May I have a moment of your time? Alexander Lee didn't stop walking, didn't even glance her way. His assistant stepped in to block her. Sorry, please reschedule. Director Lee has urgent matters to attend to. My phone buzzer. It was a message from Alexander. I'll be home in 20 minutes. What do you want to eat? I looked at my best friend, desperately trying to make her pitch, then looked at Alexander Lee walking steadily away. I raised my hand timidly. Hey. The moment he heard my voice, Alexander Lee froze in his tracks. He lifted his head, eyes locking onto mine with an intense gaze. His Adam's apple moved slightly. My face turned beet red, and I couldn't help but feel a twinge of jealousy. That damn devil really lives too well. He extended his hand. Give it here. Amelia quickly handed over the proposal. This is the first draft. If there's anything you're not satisfied with, we'll revise it immediately. Alexander didn't take the document. I stepped forward and pulled the proposal out. Handed it to him. He didn't even glance at the content, just flipped to the last page. Signed it, and gave it back to me. Wait for me at home. He hadn't even lowered his voice. Immediately, every employee on the first floor whipped their heads around to look at me, eyes wide in shock and curiosity, like they were silently asking, "Who even are you?" I felt like I was sitting on a burning stove. Only my silly best friend was still riding high on the joy of sealing the deal. Told you, as long as you're thick-skinned, there's no contract you can't land. Tonight's on me. Let's invite your seniors too, and throw a celebration party. Now everyone's expressions changed again. Oh my god. She's got a boyfriend and still landed the boss. Total queen. Suddenly, Alexander Lee turned around and appeared in front of me. The corners of his lips curled into a smirk. His gaze was sharp and predatory, like a wolf glowing with strange green light. I love celebration parties. Count me in. My best friend beamed. Of course. The more the merrier. I grabbed her arm. Girl, you're playing with fire. She brushed my hand away without hesitation. For a sponsor like this, I'd walk through fire if I had to. Alright, fine. When it comes to Party B's dedication, even I had to admit I couldn't compare to her. That evening, at a roadside spicy hot pot skewer stall, 4 of us sat around a low table. The seats were too small, and Alexander Lee's legs were too long, constantly brushing against mine. He glanced at the guy sitting across from us, wearing a faint, not-so-friendly smile. So you're Mia's senior? Thanks for taking care of her all these years. Alexander reached out and wrapped one arm around me, pulling me into his chest. My senior's face turned cold. He brushed Alexander's hand off me and kicked the leg that was touching mine. No need to thank me. I like taking care of Mia. But you? You're different. This is a public place, keep your hands to yourself. As far as I know, Mia still doesn't have a boyfriend. Alexander tightened his grip on me and raised an eyebrow provocatively. Mia gets embarrassed easily. Whether she has a boyfriend or not isn't something she needs to explain to outsiders like you, right? The senior scoffed. I'm not an outsider. Mia and I spent 4 years of college together. I'm the one closest to her. Alexander narrowed his eyes. You? What kind of close friend are you? The senior clenched his fists. And what's that got to do with you? Their eyes clashed mid-air, sparks flying in the tension. Next to me, Amelia was absolutely living for the drama, whispering excitedly, "Fight. Come on, fight already." I quickly pulled her back. Quit it. Stop stirring things up. Wasn't this supposed to be a celebration dinner? Who celebrates by eating spicy skewers on the sidewalk? Amelia shrugged. Wasn't my choice. Director Lee picked this place. No way. Alexander Lee's family is loaded. There's no way he's ever eaten anything like this. Amelia swore up and down. I'm telling you the truth. If it hadn't been him suggesting it, I wouldn't have dared bring him here. As she spoke, she picked up a sweet fish cake and placed it in my bowl, curiosity written all over her face. All right, spill. What exactly is going on between you and Director Lee? That's a long story, I replied vaguely. But before I could say another word, Alexander Lee reached out and snatched the fish cake from my bowl. He leaned down, his voice gentle, his smile soft. You're getting ready to be pregnant. You shouldn't be eating that. That one line shut down the entire table. Silence fell instantly. Amelia was the first to snap out of the shock. What the hell, did you two get married or something? I shook my head and explained softly. Not married. But we did sleep together. Damn it, when? Last night. It was an extra gig. Amelia's voice instantly shot up an octave. Wait. What? You mean you took a sugar baby job? Could this girl, listen to the entire sentence for once? The celebratory dinner ended on a rather awkward note. Alexander Lee dragged me straight to the car, walking fast with his head down, not saying a single word. I figured maybe he was mad, which made sense. He had just hired a daughter-in-law with a high salary, only to see some romantic rival pop up right after. Who wouldn't be upset? I spoke up softly, trying to reassure him. Director Lee, please don't worry. I'm a professional. The moment I accepted the recruitment letter from your mom, I swore I wouldn't cause any drama. Alexander suddenly stopped walking, spun around with a frown on his face. Is that all I am to you? Just party A? Is this whole thing between us just some contract relationship? Huh. I mean, what else would it be? We'd only slept together once, and now he wanted emotional involvement. That's terrifying. Mia, you really have no heart. Alexander turned to leave. I panicked and chased after him. Director Lee, are you saying you want to upgrade to include romantic services? I mean, that's negotiable, but that's a different rate. After all, true feelings are a risky investment, hurts both physically and emotionally. Alexander's face went cold. Forget it. I don't need to buy someone's heart with a contract. Once we got to the car, he opened the door and shoved me into the passenger seat, slamming it shut. Then he turned and walked off. Hey, where are you going? He waved without turning back. I'm not riding with you. Drive yourself home. I walked here. I don't know how to drive. His footsteps stopped. He grumbled, walked back, and straight up picked me up, placing me into the passenger seat. Go learn how to drive when you have time. Don't come crying when you get left on the roadside one day. When we got home, he was still clearly mad-storming straight into the bedroom. Well, he was party A, so he was allowed to show attitude. Me? Not so much. I still had to do my job. I quickly took a shower, got all clean and fragrant, then slipped under his blanket. Boss, please have mercy. Alexander's ears turned slightly red, but he was still sulking. He yanked the blanket and wrapped me up like a burrito. Mia, listen carefully. Even if I had to die without children, I would never force someone whose heart belongs to someone else. I blushed hard. Boss, you've got it all wrong. That senior and I were just classmates. The Lee family bloodline will never be misidentified. Alexander Lee was so angry he burst out laughing. He reached out and pinched my cheeks, squishing my face into a bao bun. This has nothing to do with that terrible senior of yours. I mumbled. Then why? Alexander looked at me intently. Because of you. I want to be in your heart. I froze, staring at him for a long time. Then suddenly I snapped. What is this? Having a baby is one thing, I mean. That's my advantage, but now you want to develop feelings too. Even if I do fall for you. You like a trans man or something. Are you seriously expecting me to change my gender for this? There's no such thing as a woman transitioning into a trans man. That makes no sense. My voice dropped cold. Alexander Lee, do you still want to sleep or not? No. Fine, just wait there then. I yanked the blanket off and stormed out the door. Madam Lee, his mom, was downstairs and heard the commotion. What's going on? I shrugged. Madam Lee, Alexander Lee is refusing to cooperate. When Party A gives you trouble, the fastest way to deal with it is to report directly to upper management. Someone up there will handle it. Sure enough, 5 minutes later, 8 intimidating bodyguards stormed in, all holding red silk ropes, and skillfully tied Alexander Lee to the bed like a pro-level hostage situation. Alexander's eyes practically shot sparks. Mia, you're really something. I gave him a cold smirk. Never underestimate Party B's commitment to making money. That night, no matter how hoarse he screamed, I did not let him go. After an entire night of hard work, I finally used my top-tier skills to completely conquer Party A. Maybe I was just too exhausted, but I slept like a rock. When I finally woke up at some point, the red silk had been untied, and I was nestled snugly in Alexander Lee's arms, my head resting on his arm. He looked down at me. From this close, I could even see the tiny baby hairs on his face. You're mad now? His voice was chilly. I immediately sat up. Sorry. I was so tired I passed out. Did I squish your arm? Whatever he was thinking, his face instantly turned bright red. He turned away. He rolled his shoulders, stood up, got dressed, washed up, and walked out without saying another word. For the next 10 days he completely vanished, no sign of him at all. He didn't come home, didn't send a single message. Madam Lee was worried. Come with me to the company, we're going to drag him out. I took a deep breath and hurried to stop her. Tying him up once was already over the top. If we go to his office and tie him up again, Alexander Lee will truly become a breeding pig. I'll go. Please don't get worked up, madam. I pleaded quickly. When I arrived at the company, the receptionist stopped me. I'm sorry, Director Lee is currently with an important guest. He's not available. I don't know if I was just imagining things, but the way the receptionist looked at me felt full of pity. A few employees walked by, whispering, "See, that's the girl. Only 10 days and the director's already ditched her. God, the rich really don't care about feelings." Someone was clearly trying to steal my place. Unforgivable. Let me in, I demanded. The receptionist blocked me again. Please don't make things difficult for me. Director Lee truly isn't available. I said nothing and simply pulled out my phone. I called Madame Lee and turned on the speakerphone. Madame Lee's voice rang out loud and firm. Move aside. The receptionist obediently stepped aside and, at the same time, frantically started texting on her phone. I glanced at her screen. She was messaging in the office gossip group. Hurry to the director's office. His ex and current flame are about to throw down. I made it to the director's office without further issues. As soon as I opened the door, just as I expected, I saw a stunning woman with long hair, a bombshell figure, and a face so breathtaking I instantly felt inferior. Every line I had rehearsed disappeared from my mind. All I could muster was a small, timid, "Hello, gorgeous." The beauty turned around and smiled. She was jaw-dropping. A true femme fatale, I thought. I choked on my words, screaming internally. It's over. I'm unemployed for sure. Compared to her, I don't stand a chance. The beauty held out her hand and in a gravelly, sandpaper-like voice said, "Nice to meet you, little sister. I'm Jackson." Oh my god, she's a he? The rumors about Alexander Lee being into trans women were true after all. With a beauty like that, if I were a man, I'd probably fall for him too. Alexander Lee, you liar. You wanted me to have you in my heart, but your heart doesn't have me. This is too unfair, too absurd. He clearly wants me jobless. Bastard. Heartless capitalist. Jackson politely asked me, "Little sister, are you here to see Alexander for something?" Immediately, a wave of guilt as the other woman swept over me. I came to bring Alexander Lee home. Oh God, I'm stealing someone's man right in front of his actual partner. My karma is doomed. Jackson smiled gently. I see. Well, have a seat and wait a moment. Alexander should be here soon. I sat down feeling like I was on pins and needles, completely at a loss, but my curiosity got the better of me. Jackson, No, Jackson G. How did you and Director Lee meet? Jackson smiled. Just call me G. I like the sound of that. I quickly replied, "Okay, nice to meet you, G." Jackson seemed pleased. We met while studying abroad. He was at the same university. We've known each other for 5 years now. 5 years. That's deep. No wonder Alexander Lee was so resistant when I tried to tie him up on the first day of work. Their love is clearly ironclad. Jackson lowered his head with a charming smile. It's nothing much. Alexander said I'm the only one for him. Oh God, I'm trash. I actually inserted myself between such a sweet couple. And I'm even the mother of his child. What have I done? Jackson said gently, "Just wait a little while, dear. The meeting is running long, it'll be just a bit more time." Internally, I was struggling like crazy. I hesitantly asked, "Jackson G, if you found out that Alexander Lee had someone else behind your back, would it hurt you?" Jackson paused. No one's ever asked me that before. He thought for a moment, then answered seriously, "If that were the case, I think I'd quietly step away. We've been together for years, and I wouldn't want it to end in a big messy scene." Hoo, I'm crying. I'm not even human at this point. Suddenly, I stood up and gave Jackson a deep, sincere bow. "I'm sorry, Jackson." Huh? Do we even know each other? Why are you apologizing to me? But I had made up my mind. This job, I can't do it anymore. Alexander Lee is trying to escape the life his family planned for him. Jackson came all this way for love. I can't be the one to tear them apart. Don't worry, G. I swear I won't let that happen. You two will be happy. With that, I bolted out of the office. Just then, Alexander Lee rushed into the room, looked around quickly, and asked, "Mia? Wasn't she here to see me?" Jackson shrugged. She just left and said some really strange things. All right, Alexander. I'm flying out tomorrow for work in Thailand. We need to wrap things up today. Alexander Lee paused for a moment. I'll handle it right away. Jackson brushed his long hair back and asked, "Alexander, I'm your sole distributor in the Southeast Asia region, right? Look me in the eye and answer." Alexander Lee frowned, looking a bit confused. "We've already signed the contract. Would I dare open another distributor? The penalty fee would be enough to support you for 10 lifetimes. Jackson looked puzzled. Then what was all that earlier about? What do you mean? Never mind, forget it. You get back to work. I left the Lee family's company and went straight to the ad agency. As soon as Amelia saw my tear-streaked face, she jumped up, alarmed. "Mia, who bullied you? Why are you crying like this?" "Whoever did it, I swear I'll handle them." I threw my arms around Amelia and sobbed. "Amelia, I'm not even human." She patted my back. "I know. You're an animal." I froze for a second, then cried even harder. "What actually happened?" she asked, trying to calm me. Between sniffles, I recounted the tragic love story of Alexander Lee and Jackson. Amelia was quiet for a while. Then she asked, Mia, be honest. Are you crying because of the $400,000? Or because of Alexander Lee? I paused. Suddenly my heart felt like a mess. I'd been crying so much. I'd forgotten why. Amelia sighed. Mia, you've fallen in love. I froze. It's over. I didn't get the money. And I ended up giving away my heart. This is a huge loss. I really need to watch out for these high-paying job traps. Amelia gently patted my shoulder. So what now? Are you going to fight for love, or bow out early? I lowered my head. I'll step away. After all, they're the real couple. Amelia hugged me tightly. Don't be afraid, mean. No matter what you decide, you'll never be alone. That night, I returned the employment letter to Madam Lee. Thank you so much for trusting me. Madam, but I really can't take this job anymore. I'm sorry. Madam Lee looked deeply disappointed. But why? I've interviewed so many girls, only you were able to handle Alexander. Don't go. I'll give you a raise. I politely declined. This has nothing to do with money. Alexander Lee already has someone else in his heart. Forcing him into anything will only make things worse. Madam Lee let out a sorrowful sigh. Could it be that their Lee family is really going to die out because of that rebellious son? This was a family matter, and I didn't feel it was my place to comment. After returning the employment letter, I stood up to take my leave. Madam Lee followed me and slipped a card into my hand. I told you before, even if things don't work out, I still owe you a nutrition fee. This is money you deserve. I accepted the card, thanked her, and officially moved out of the Lee household. When I got back to my small apartment, Amelia and Senior had already arrived and were busy in the kitchen. Amelia held up a plate and ran out to greet me with a big smile. Today is Mia's Liberation Day. We're celebrating big time. She placed the plate in front of me. Look, I made your favorite, tomato braised beef. Eat lots. The moment the delicious smell hit my nose, my stomach churned violently. I rushed to the bathroom to dry heave. Amelia followed me and suddenly froze. Mia, could it be? I quickly calculated the dates. There was a high chance she was right. Amelia let out a sigh. Gosh, it's only been a few days and you're already this fast. Should we tell Director Lee? Don't. I looked up with effort. I made a promise to Jackson. I can't break it. If they find out, their relationship will definitely be affected. Amelia nodded. All right, being decisive is good too. So, what's your plan? I placed my hand gently on my stomach, feeling a strange sense of connection. This child is mine too. Maybe 2, 3, even 4 little lives. It was incredible. I think I'll have the baby. Amelia cupped my face and said firmly, All right. Even if we don't have the Lee family, we still have the ad agency. We'll work hard and raise the baby or babies together. Senior poked his head out of the kitchen. Or maybe the baby needs a father. I smiled awkwardly. No need, Senior. This whole thing is already overwhelming. He looked a little disappointed and shook his head. Amelia leaned in and whispered teasingly, You really aren't going to consider it? Senior is a great guy and he's crazy about you. I laughed and shook my head. I've known him since my first year of college. It's been 5 or 6 years now. If there were feelings, we would have been together long ago. I just don't feel anything romantic. And I don't want to drag him into this as some kind of substitute father. That wouldn't be fair. In the early hours of the morning, my phone kept lighting up with messages from Alexander Lee. Mia, where are you? I won't sulk anymore. Please don't terminate the contract. Send me your location. I'll come pick you up. Amelia patted my shoulder. Stop staring at your phone, it'll make you carsick. Look, there's a shooting star. I turned off my phone and looked up at the sky. Across the vast heavens, trails of shooting stars sparkled briefly, then disappeared into the darkness. I silently made a wish for Alexander Lee that in his world, he could have everything he ever wanted. The next time I saw Alexander Lee was a month later, on a beach in Hawaii. He pulled up in a dust-covered, off-road vehicle that came to a stop, right in front of me. He got out, unshaven and disheveled, his messy hair covering his eyes, his clothes looking like they hadn't been changed in days. carrying with him a faint, unpleasant odor. As soon as I caught a whiff, my nausea surged again. Alexander Lee's eyes were red as he stared at me, like he was afraid I'd vanish the moment he blinked. Mia, you really know how to hide. But I swear I wasn't intentionally avoiding him. After confirming the pregnancy, Amelia had suggested we take a short trip while the baby was still small, because once the child was born, there might never be time again. To avoid stressing the baby, we drove ourselves and only traveled about 3 hours each day, stopping wherever we ended up. Sometimes we stayed in hotels. Sometimes we just slept at highway rest stops. I'm not exaggerating, this whole trip felt like we were fugitives on the run. Alexander Lee said, "Come back with me." I took a step back. No. Director, you said you wanted to be in my heart. But you can't expect me to believe your heart is big enough to house an entire apartment complex. He looked confused. What apartment complex? There's only you and my heart. My heart skipped a beat, but I quickly shook off the romantic thoughts. Liar. Your Jackson is so devoted you think I'm blind? He's not enough. So now you want me too. What's next? Find another guy and complete the whole gender set. Alexander Lee explained. He's not my lover. He's the exclusive agent of our company in the Southeast Asia region. Huh? I froze. That's what the only one meant. Could I have misunderstood everything? Amelia nudged me teasingly. You're amazing, bestie. Seriously, maybe go get checked out, you might actually be curable. I couldn't believe it. A man that beautiful and he didn't fall for him. Alexander Lee spoke again, his voice softer now as he stepped closer, a hint of grievance in his tone. Mia, that day I stayed at the office until 2 a.m. When I got home, my mom said you had already resigned. I searched everywhere I could think of, but I couldn't find you. Alexander Lee said, I won't force you to keep me in your heart anymore. I've accepted the end of our contract too, but could I at least be the only one with that contract? Mia, just seeing you every day is enough for me. There was a glimmer of tears at the corners of Alexander's eyes. He looked truly pitiful. When I stayed silent, he carefully pulled me into a hug. Mia, you are the only one for me. As soon as I heard that, I couldn't suppress the wave of nausea. I immediately dashed 3 meters away and threw up violently. Alexander Lee stared at his now empty arms, then looked at me running away like a rocket, stunned. Was that line really that nauseating? All right, I won't say it again. Amelia rolled her eyes. You two idiots. It wasn't until noon that Alexander Lee finally figured it out. His expression turned cautious as he gently placed his hand on my belly. Mia, is there a baby in there? I shook my head. That's just my stomach. Thanks though. Still excited, Alexander Lee softly rubbed around, trying to find the exact spot where the baby might be. The senior, standing nearby, let out a cold snort. This dad doesn't seem too smart. Should we replace him? Alexander Lee paused, rolled up his sleeves and charged at him. You shady bastard, always trying to steal my woman. Get lost. You're the one who messed up, and now you're blaming others. I'll keep trying, just watch me. Amelia pouted. Why don't we just leave them here? The two of them combined still aren't 10 years old mentally. I fully agreed. It took us another half a month of driving to make it back to the city. The moment we arrived, Alexander Lee immediately took me to the Lee family's house. But we couldn't even get in, because right at the front gate, a man had been waiting for a long time. Mia, get out of the car. I looked up and was instantly startled. Without a word, I obediently stepped down and stood still in place. Alexander Lee fumed. Security. Get this guy out of here. Yelling at my wife like that, you've got a death wish. I quickly grabbed his arm. That's my older brother. Alexander Lee immediately shut up and stood straight like a soldier. I ran over to my brother with a fawning smile. Brother, you're back in the country? My brother snorted coldly. If I hadn't come back, how would I know you've done something, miss? Outrageous, selling yourself for a bit of money. Impressive. I shrank back like a scared little quail. There was no way around it. Even though we were Dragon Phoenix twins, I had always been afraid of him since we were kids. Our father passed away early, and my brother had always been mature beyond his years. From the moment he became an adult, he carried the burden of the family like a true guardian. Whenever he scolded me, it felt like I was a naughty nephew getting lectured. Alexander Lee stepped in, heart aching. Scold me instead. Mia's pregnant, she can't take it. My brother radiated cold authority as he spoke sternly. Don't call me brother just yet. Whether you get to marry her or not is still undecided. Even if Mia never marries, the T family can still raise her and her child just fine. Don't think that just because you donated a few cells you get to take control over my sister. Then he turned to me. Come home with me. And just like that, I was taken away by my brother, leaving Lee QD behind. For exactly 6 months, though we lived in the same city, it felt like we were separated by mountains and rivers. Alexander Lee was allowed to visit, but only between 10 o'clock a.m. and 5 p.m., after which he'd be kicked out. During those visits, my brother kept a close watch like a hawk. Madam Lee wasted no time arranging the engagement. It took 3 whole months of persistence before my brother agreed to sit down and talk. Another 3 months passed before he finally permitted the Lee family to bring over the engagement gifts. I was shocked and secretly asked my brother, "Aren't you being a bit over the top?" My brother widened his eyes. "What do you know? Your brain's the size of a walnut. Marriage is a lifelong matter. What's a few hard days for them? If they can't handle this, forget the wedding. The kid can take your surname, I'll even let you date that Lee guy forever." I immediately shut my mouth. The wedding was finally set for early spring the following year, coinciding with the baby's 100th day celebration. After the doctor's examination, it turned out I was expecting triplets. Madam Lee was overjoyed, spinning around in excitement. As soon as the wedding was arranged, she began planning the baby's 100-day celebration party. On the first day of winter, our 3 sons were born. The moment I left the delivery room, my phone buzzed with the bank notification, a transfer totaling $900,000. I almost jumped up from the hospital bed to dance. My brother shot me a look and scoffed. Impressive. Out of spending money already? I beamed with pride. You don't get it. I earned this all by myself. Right before the wedding, Alexander Lee and I entered the Civil Affairs Bureau to register our marriage. As the official seal was stamped onto our marriage certificate, he took my hand and kissed it. Finally, after all these years, I've waited long enough. I blinked in confusion. If I hadn't come back, how would I know you've done something, miss? Outrageous, selling yourself for a bit of money. Impressive. I shrank back like a scared little quail. There was no way around it. Even though we were Dragon Phoenix twins, I had always been afraid of him since we were kids. Our father passed away early, and my brother had always been mature beyond his years. From the moment he became an adult, he carried the burden of the family like a true guardian. Whenever he scolded me, it felt like I was a naughty nephew getting lectured. Alexander Lee stepped in, heart aching. Scold me instead. Mia's pregnant, she can't take it. My brother radiated cold authority as he spoke sternly. Don't call me brother just yet. Whether you get to marry her or not is still undecided. Even if Mia never marries, the T family can still raise her and her child just fine. Don't think that just because you donated a few cells you get to take control over my sister. Then he turned to me. Come home with me. And just like that, I was taken away by my brother, leaving Lee QD behind. For exactly 6 months, though we lived in the same city, it felt like we were separated by mountains and rivers. Alexander Lee was allowed to visit, but only between 10 o'clock a.m. and 5 p.m., after which he'd be kicked out. During those visits, my brother kept a close watch like a hawk. Madam Lee wasted no time arranging the engagement. It took 3 whole months of persistence before my brother agreed to sit down and talk. Another 3 months passed before he finally permitted the Lee family to bring over the engagement gifts. I was shocked and secretly asked my brother, "Aren't you being a bit over the top?" My brother widened his eyes. "What do you know? Your brain's the size of a walnut. Marriage is a lifelong matter. What's a few hard days for them? If they can't handle this, forget the wedding. The kid can take your surname, I'll even let you date that Lee guy forever. I immediately shut my mouth. The wedding was finally set for early spring the following year, coinciding with the baby's 100th day celebration. After the doctor's examination, it turned out I was expecting triplets. Madam Lee was overjoyed, spinning around in excitement. As soon as the wedding was arranged, she began planning the baby's 100-day celebration party. On the first day of winter, our 3 sons were born. The moment I left the delivery room, my phone buzzed with the bank. Notification: a transfer totaling $900,000. I almost jumped up from the hospital bed to dance. My brother shot me a look and scoffed. Impressive. Out of spending money already? I beamed with pride. You don't get it. I earned this all by myself. Right before the wedding, Alexander Lee and I entered the Civil Affairs Bureau to register our marriage. As the official seal was stamped onto our marriage certificate, he took my hand and kissed it. Finally. After all these years, I've waited long enough. I blinked in confusion. Waited for years? Are you sure you're not mistaking me for someone else? Alexander Lee gave a helpless smile. Do you remember getting lost when you were 10? Hearing that jogged a faint memory. It was my first year in the city. My mom had taken my brother to complete his school registration, telling me to sit still and not wander off. But the moment she disappeared from sight, a snake slithered out from a bush. Terrified, I covered my head and ran in circles, somehow getting completely lost. As night fell, fewer people passed by. I ended up crying alone under a streetlight. Suddenly, a teenager around 15 stopped in front of me, trying to look cool and mature as he frowned. Hey kid, why are you crying? Between sniffles, I replied, I'm lost. And hungry. He gave a little snort. That's it. Easy. What do you want to eat? It's on me. I wiped my tears. Spicy skewers hot pot. He laughed. You've never had real food, huh? That stuff's just spice and pain. Won't it mess up your stomach? He said that, but still took me to a hot pot skewer stall. Order whatever you want. The whole place is on me. He didn't eat any himself, pretending to dislike it. When he wasn't looking, I sneaked a fishbowl into his bowl. Ooh, what is this? He said while chewing. Not bad, actually. I grinned proudly. Told you. Not super healthy, but super tasty. After I was full, he walked me to the nearest police station. Right before we parted, I tugged on his sleeve and asked, How should I pay you back? He waved a hand. Forget it. I don't need your money. How will you thank me then? Resting his chin on his hand, he thought for a moment. How about being my girlfriend when you grow up? You're too little now, but I'll wait until you're older. After recalling the memory, I stared wide-eyed. You waited all this time just because of a childhood promise? Alexander Lee shook his head and smiled softly. Not at all. I'm not some weirdo. It's just, the moment you appeared again, I was stunned. Everything about you was exactly my type, like fate had planned it from the start. We've been married for 3 years now, and I've already given birth twice. The first time was before the wedding triplets. Eldest brother, second eldest brother, third eldest brother. Alexander once said, 3 is enough, we don't need any more. But then I got pregnant again by accident, this time with quadruplets. 2 boys and 2 girls. My mother-in-law happily waved her hand, and, sticking to her usual rule, transferred $10 million straight into my bank account. Alexander kept warning me over and over. 7 kids. That's enough. But then we went to soak in a hot spring once. And well, let's just say, it happened again. Triplets this time. Alexander looked at my belly, utterly bewildered. Was your ancestor some kind of immortal rabbit spirit? How do you keep getting pregnant so easily? Even my mother-in-law stared at my belly, brows tightly furrowed. A moment later, she called my father-in-law, who was overseas. Stop it. What do you mean stop? No breaks. I already transferred all my cash to our daughter-in-law. She's got 3 more babies in her belly. If we don't have enough money for the kids, I'll sell off your antique collection. After just that one call, our first set of triplets, now 5 years old, bolted upstairs. Eldest brother ran into the study and tossed all the documents from the cabinet. into the air like flower petals at a fairy parade. Second eldest brother grabbed the stair railing and slid down from the second floor like it was a slide. Third eldest brother was climbing up a pillar, almost at the ceiling. My mother-in-law, panicked, slapped her thigh repeatedly and ordered all 8 bodyguards to capture them. One by one, in the blink of an eye, the 2 3-year-old boys had already torn all the fallen documents to shreds. Giggling like little devils, my mother-in-law placed a hand on her back and sighed. Girls really are better behaved. Wait, where are the 2 little girls? A maid answered, in the garage, ma'am. Turns out, each of the girls had grabbed a stack of stickers and turned every car in the garage into a decorated wedding car. My mother-in-law was silent for a long while, then turned to Alexander Lee, grinding her teeth. Go to the hospital and get a vasectomy. We don't need you anymore. That afternoon, the butler rushed in. Madam Lee, there's a woman outside claiming to be the CEO's mistress. She says she's pregnant and is here to confront him. Alexander Lee immediately raised his hand. I swear, it's not my child. My mother-in-law let out a cold laugh. Throw her out. I may be short of many things, but grandchildren isn't one of them. If she has the skills, she can go ahead and take Alexander away, be my guest. Alexander Lee panicked. Mom, I'm your only son. His mother didn't even flinch. Back when we had 8 generations of only sons. Yes, you were the only one. But now that I've got 10 grandkids, what do you think you are? Get lost. Thank you all for listening. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to hear more great stories as soon as they're released.